Hey, this is MDT team shooter Dan Bertacchini.
And Brian Neese. Today we're going to go over some tips to help you guys get a little better at NRL Hunter.
We are MDT. We design, test, and create precision rifle chassis and accessories to help you shoot better.
Always trying to have the same caliber and the same load, so you're basically shooting the same bullet at the same speed. That way you can share data and dope from one shooter to the next. I'm gonna go 8-2.
8-2.
We start with our bipods and everything folded up, but as I'm moving my bipod down to save time.
It's really important to have a time management strategy before you get up to the stage. I use a Crush It timer. You can program it for whatever alerts you need.
When you're approaching a stage, there's a lot of equipment. Having a clean workspace essentially will help you down in the long run.
So as a second shooter, I'm trying to find a place that's completely out of the way so that I'm not interfering with him when he shoots.
The first shooter goes to the pin. He's gonna get a little bit lower. The second shooter who's shooting second and it's gonna get taller or standing. That way you get two different point of views and two different level changes to finding targets. The second shooter also has a better advantage sometimes ranging the target.
So I'm gonna set up slightly above Dan in case there's an obstacle in the way that he can't see a target and I can. Match directors like to create situations where you got to change elevations. So you might have to get higher than a branch or maybe sometimes underneath the branch. Okay, you're probably too low. That's just important to have both perspectives. Okay, so I don't see the second target.
Okay, yeah.
But I see the base of a T-post.
Yeah.
So I'm too high.
Yeah, 2-8.
Plenty of opportunity to share gear, for example, a heavy bag.
Nice.
You may only want to carry one heavy sand-filled bag. Like a triple pole, maybe you'll need one of those as long as both of you make weight with it.
The first thing that I'm really doing right now is I'm trying to get my gear as quickly as I can. So I'm looking at the pin, the sighting lines, and then I'm gonna start glassing for the target out there. It's absolutely crucial when you're finding targets and confirming yardages to glass off of a stable platform. You can either clip in to your tripod or use some type of a plate bag with a bag on top with the binos on top. This is gonna give you a steady and consistent yardage every single time. But you could also use a prop, when doing it as well. You could just lay a bag over a rock per se or a log. We found it works best when two shooters work together to find those targets and to get those ranges.
Have your communication, let's say landmarks, for example. What are you gonna say when you walk me into that target so I can understand your language?
130 from the first target to the right of that pine tree.
Just past that big shadow.
Yep.
I'll start big. I'll start really big, like I call it a macro landmark. And that's something that's right in your face. You can't miss it, something on the horizon. And then from there, I'll find something smaller, something right next to the target that I can describe a distance from that macro landmark to that micro landmark.
And when finding and verifying targets, both shooters calling out the distance as well as the dope can help make the difference, because if one shooter sees something or picks up something differently than the other, then you can have a discussion to figure out what the best approach is at that point.
It's either 6.9 or 7. 881's, let's go 7.
Yeah, let's go 7.
No, let's drop it to 6.9, yeah.
Okay.
Because of the angle.
Okay, we'll go 6.9. Sometimes I'll do a wind indicator, and it does come right to left here. What it's doing out there, possibly, I don't really see any vegetation moving, but I'm gonna wanna start straight up.
And when he gets down to shoot, I'll be asking him his wind call and also checking to make sure his dope's dialed to what I have here. And I'm just gonna wanna make sure that as he's setting up, I can be any help. I mean, obviously all of his gear's right here, so I'm gonna let him do it, but my job is to stay out of the way and get in a position where I can see the target to help him make a correction. Now, when you're setting up the spot, and you wanna make sure that you're behind him, if possible. If you got room to be behind him, be directly behind him for the first target. You wanna make sure that you can get him a really good wind call, and it's important that you can see trace, if the conditions allow it, to help you do that.
Shooters should always be doing something to help the team out in the long run. So if I'm on glass and he's not shooting yet, I'm gonna check range a couple times. As one person shooting, the second team member should either be helping that person set up in their position, helping them with gear, helping them with dope or anything else, on glass watching. Both shooters should be doing something the entire stage, the entire time. You're a team, work together as a team. It's a little bit high. I'm just gonna clip in.
Okay, a mill
left.
4.3?
Yep. When you get into a lot of these positions, depending on the match, you want to make sure there's no limbs or grass in the way, because if your bullet hits it, it's going to affect where the shot goes.
Impact slightly left of center.
Copy. All right, so I'm on the second bear, a little bit left of center. I'll hold the 10th.
Hold right of center, yeah.
Yep, I'll hold the 10th right this time.
On it.
Straight
Okay,
up.
confirming doe, 3-3.
3-3.
Going straight up. Missed off his nose, so we need to hold left.
Ooh.
Wind switch. Impact. You need a little bit more in this next target.
Okay, so 3-8.
Yep. So you're going straight above that tree with a fork on the top.
Copy that.
3-8.
Yep. 4/10 left.
4/10 left. Pretty centered up. Could have used maybe a little more.
He's gonna use that information now as he gets down here and shoots it.
In a situation where the wind is more predictable, I probably would be breaking my position as a spotter and getting my rifle ready on that last shot. But because we had that switch there, I want to make sure I stay on glass so I can see what he sees just to confirm, so I can use it when I shoot.
Another tip for shooting teams is figuring out who's shooting first and who's shooting second. Keeping that same order for most of the match, unless something changes, will help you in the long run.
If one person is more likely to hit targets than the other one, you want to get your points at the front end of your time. If one person is a lot faster and shoots better under pressure, you might want to have that person shoot second. You're going to run into time constraints and situations that you need to shoot quickly. Impact.
Just in time. After the first shooter's done, the bolt's back, rifle's cleared, mag out. Then I'm gonna move my gear out of the way and get everything out of the way other than these bags that he's gonna use.
If you got 4 positions to shoot from, generally there's no order in which you have to shoot those positions. I found that it's much smoother as a second shooter to start where the first shooter left off, because that's where all the gear is, especially if you're sharing gear. That can just be a huge time saver if you start right there and work the opposite direction.
And then right now, as he's setting up, I'm asking him if he needs anything. You need a bag or anything? You good? So before I'm even glassing, I'm like, hey partner, you good? You need anything?
Yeah, I need a bag.
Okay.
Next position.
All right, another thing what I'm doing, especially as the second shooter, I'm consciously looking at our time because I have to know if we need to speed up or if we have plenty of time to make a good shot. Perfect. We went over a lot of tips and tricks on shooting NRL Hunter and using your equipment for hunting. Biggest thing is just to get out there, have fun, and leave your egos at home.